Round 3 of the Demon Rush Championship Series. This time we have perhaps the best two Holy players in the tournament, both undefeated. Stephen Gray versus Brandon the Holy King. We saw Brandon win his last round against David Hernandez, and now he has to face the undefeated Stephen Gray with his Renee control deck. This is an incredibly intense match between these two. Let's jump in.
Round 3 is the perfect time.
Alrighty. Ish versus Brandon.
Loses, it's still probably okay for us.
And Brandon has been hiding his deck. Ish was anxious to see it, anxious to play it, curious if his own deck was a replica of Brandon's, but turns out they are very different. Stephen Gray also goes by Ish on Discord. He runs Renee's, Brandon does not. We saw that Brandon is actually running Judd, surprisingly, a Holy card that haven't really seen many Holy players running, and it's worked out fairly well for Brandon. This one is gonna be crazy and long and intense. Both these guys run insane amounts of defense, literally just trying to prevent your opponent from playing the game, and they're gonna go to war. Brandon coming off his 2-0 win against Steven's friend David Hernandez last round.
Nah, the first one was at that table. Actually, where you were playing.
Who is
big match, bro? This is the big match we've been hyping up.
Damn.
I'm super pumped for this.
Now's the time, bro. Cards in deck?
42.
42. Beautiful.
Asks him his amount of cards in his deck. For the longest time, Brandon ran 40 cards in his deck and decides he wanted to throw in 2 Judds on top, I guess, at the last second. I believe both of these guys are running 3 Forgotten Coin, and it appears that if you run over 40, it kind of lessens the chance those Forgotten Coins will brick in your hand and actually helps your deck run smoother quite a bit.
Oh, that's, what's his face? The guy I played before.
The goal of both their decks is whittle down the opponent and then keep recycling your soldiers with Forgotten Coin until you just have them completely controlled with Jacob. So these guys are going to be trying to control the heck out of each other, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I just like rolling the same die. That's my only issue.
Gotcha, okay. I got a 2.
Oh my god, this die roll's so weird. I got 6.
Okay.
I'll go
Stephen Gray wins a dice roll, and he will go first.
Now, if I see a Renee anywhere in your list, we're going to have an issue, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Stephen gesturing about the fact that Brandon said he doesn't run Renee's, but
thinking on keep.
Perhaps he was lying about that.
I'll keep. Good luck, brother.
Alex not to mulligan.
I'll play Bless Cat.
Seems like he has a pretty crazy opening hand with Cat and a bunch of defense and a coin. Uses Prayer Beads, draws another card. Goes up to 9 Imperium. The Blessed Cat, a signature card in Steven's deck. Searching out the Jacobs. Providing a wall defense, so he just doesn't take much damage. It's part of the control. And he's got Exodus Body in his hand, double defense, ready to go in case Brandon tries to do anything crazy. Starts off with Jacob Prayer Beads. Very strong opening play because you spend 3 Imperium, you get 1 back immediately, and then you can use the Jacob to get the Prayer Beads back again and replace him. Question is, will he attack the cat? And looks like he will.
Cat trigger.
That's good.
Beautiful.
And Stephen will take his own Jacob. Cat worked out perfectly as he intended.
Man, do I want to keep you off the beads? That's crazy. That's funny because that's actually my play. I thought I came up with that, but I guess you've been playing long enough that that's your play. I'll let you have it.
Okay,
yeah, I'll let you have it.
Alright, I'll pass and then I'll attempt to respond when you're drunk.
It's funny how some of these guys come to me thinking they found a way to broke the game. And to break the game, and I tell them we thought of that like a year ago, or that doesn't work.
Perfect. So
but definitely
I will play my Jacob.
His deck is different. It's unique. I mean, he remains 0 greater beings, not even Adriel. He sides Adriel, Steven, which is a huge one, opting for Armoros instead to get that +1 Imperium.
I'll go ahead and Soren effect you. I'll go to 5. Ooh.
So Steven's gonna play Jacob and then Soren.
I will pitch the Forgotten Coin. Target Blessed Cat.
That's good.
Recycles his cat with Forgotten Coin. Just maintains that monstrous hand size.
Pass turn.
Look how many cards. 7. And a Jacob on board. Just full defense, 5 Imperium. How will Brandon get rid of that Jacob? He goes for the Judd.
Yeah, Judd's good.
And then I'll attempt to kill Okobo.
Jacoby?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Just clarifying.
So many options for Steven here. He can literally do anything. He could body the Judd on the rally. He can Exodus him here. I think he had sleeping in his hand too. Yeah, he has sleeping as well.
Got me on the ropes here. I will attempt to Exodus the Judd.
I'll attempt to contradict.
And Brandon contradicts because he wants that Jacob off the board. Steven does have sleeping here. He can just sleep in response. But maybe he's worried about a Godfrey play. He lets it go.
Pass my turn.
He also does have a Forgotten Coin, I believe, so he probably just like, I'll get the Jacob back with the Forgotten. Don't need to waste defense on it right now. However, I don't necessarily agree with that because
Boy.
if you keep that Jacob on the board, you don't have to rally it again, and that extra 3 Imperium can open up your hand.
Soren effect.
But I think he was more worried about Godfrey or something.
Angel Coin.
Gets the Ancient Coin, just keeps refilling his massive hand.
I will attempt to play a church. I'll go to 4.
Brandon will spend his, I believe, last 2 Imperium to Lightning Blast.
Yeah, Blast is
Or he
good.
may have 1 left for sleeping.
I think I'm going to play the cat and pass. Good. Yeah, man.
Judd now giving him +1 Imperium. He draws another sleeping potion.
Yeah, Babel's good.
Goes for Tower of Babel, which Steven does not
Babel's,
main.
5, right?
Same with David. Neither of them
good. Judd gives you one
main
Imperium.
decking the Tower of Babel. They thought it was too slow.
Soren
I don't
into
necessarily agree with that. I think Tower really helps you win games. Don't really lose games unless it's clogging. So maybe running 1 is optimal.
Yeah, we'll move to damage calc if that's cool. I'll blast it.
He goes to attack the cat with Soren.
Sure.
Wow, and Brandon contradicts.
This dice. Cat trigger.
That's his second contradict already. He hasn't really got much draw power going, but he's got double contradict, double sleeping, Judd, and Tower, and he's just
1 second.
burning his hand to maintain the tempo,
This is confirmed.
keep the pace in his favor. I mean, Ish is drawing a lot of cards, but Brandon, as long as he can keep that Judd on board and keep building his base, he could turn this into a match where he starts accumulating a lot of pluses. So he's going to go for Spirit Wolf, going down to 2. And he will search for another. Spirit Wolf's going up by +2 because of the tower. So they're 4 strength each, and if you play 3 wolves, that's essentially 12 damage for free. It's very strong. 15 if you have Church.
Cards in. Wolf makes 3.
So Brandon has 3 cards in hand. I believe Steven has 7. He has a ton.
That'd be 9 + 4, 13.
Sure. I'll take 12.
Punches Steven in the face for 12 health. That tower putting in work already. Ish is going to replenish to 10 and draw for turn. He's got that Pavana. She's a bit chunky right now. If he plays the Pavana, it kind of shuts off a lot of his hand.
You can only go one with a 2 mana?
Correct.
He also has a Jacob, but no real way to protect it. He goes for the Pavana. Interesting. So he's got a body to protect it. He turns the chains off in his hand. Not enough Imperium to use that anymore, even if Pavana does proc.
You look like you were thinking.
Yeah, I got you.
So
Let me check your grave.
Good. Yeah.
I think he has Sleeping and Body in his hand, which is the perfect amount with Pavana. Leaves 2 defense online. And if he gets this draw off, it'll be even bigger.
I'll Pavana over the Spirit Wolf.
I'll attempt to sleep.
And Brandon will use the sleep, going down to 1. Keeps his wolf alive and prevents Ish from
Looks good to me.
drawing.
That's fine.
But Brandon is very down on cards. He only has a Spirit Wolf and 1 other card in his hand. But he does have board presence, so an Ancient Coin would be amazing for him. Just seems to be drawing a lot of defense and no speed, really. It's working for now. These guys really taking their time, examining each other's cemeteries. This match will be
Sleeve.
highly intense.
Sleeve.
It's Michael.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Your sleeve,
oh,
your sleeve, your
fuck,
sleeve.
no, it's just arm. It's not completely done, but it's like a, supposed to be
Steven asking Brandon, what is your sleeve? And Brandon thought he was talking about his card sleeves. So he said, Michael, the Archangel, custom printed sleeves, but he wasn't talking about that. He was asking about the tattoo. Brandon rolling up his sleeves and showing him his arm tats.
like Discord Wolf.
Yeah.
Interesting how many Demon Rush players have their arms tattooed.
You have 3 names? Matt?
Yes.
3 in hand. Attempt to res wolf. I'll body wolf.
Brandon spends his first 2 for the turn to res Wolf, and it gets bodied.
Yeah, church is pretty good.
And Brandon could have sacked his Judd to protect it, but
We've all been waiting for.
there's the sleeping. Now both of Steven's defense is offline,
Draw her.
and Brandon only has 2 cards, no dog. Steven now with his Pavana ready to start turning the tempo of this game into his favor now. That was the big play he needed.
Boy.
The double defense to drop Brandon low.
Surely that's not Exodus mana, right?
Noting that Brandon has 3 mana, he could have an Exodus in his hand.
Probably just play to what I know you don't have, and not play into what I think you might not have. So I am going to change the Judd.
Opts to chains the Judd, secure it off the board,
And then
not try to attack
to
with Jacob or
see
something,
if I can do some crazy stuff.
because
No, I don't think so.
actually I think Jacob would have been a really good play there. Play Jacob, team attack with everything. If he does respond with Exodus, respond with Jacob effect, get sleeping or something like that, and try to proc the
Surely
Pavana.
there's more in my deck, right? That's my first wolf play.
Now Steven's going to play his own wolves.
I actually
Search a
played
little
one
bit,
wolf.
but he has no
Techie,
structures.
it's really
If
good.
Brandon
Just as a
is
one.
able to get that wolf back with Forgotten Coin or Dorn, or just drawing the 3rd one, he's going to have an army of incredibly powerful
I'll attempt to
wolves
go
that will be insanely annoying and difficult to get around.
10, 11, and so
Minus
it's
4.
yeah, so 9. No, that's not math at all. 7.
That's, yeah.
So you're 23. I will pass to you.
So Brandon was not forced to use any defense.
So he just God slams Adriel.
Zadkiel on the bottom.
Drops the
I'll
Zadkiel,
body obstruct it. You can go back to 10, and then
and it gets
becomes-
body
it
obstructed,
becomes
but
Adriel.
Soren.
Yes.
because it's a cemetery effect, Brandon does get to go up to full, and now he'll use Soren Discarding Forgotten Coin. That's brutal for Cody. Lost his defense for basically nothing. And now Brandon can start recycling Jacobs. He could get Forgotten Coin back and then get Wolf next turn. He can start doing some crazy stuff here.
2 tech for 10 into her.
And because his Church and Tower are on board, he has a total of 10 strength. Team attack power. Jacobs at 6, Soren at 4. And that's enough to run over Pavana.
Am I tripping? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, she does.
Ish just calculating the damage, make sure there's no mistakes. And there you go. Brandon will get his Forgotten Coin back. If he can protect that Jacob with that sleeping potion in his hand. Oh, he's just straight up going for it. Plays the Godfrey.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's massive for Brandon. He gets off full Imperium and gets to get his Wolf back. And he has not Soren this turn. I don't believe. Oh no, he has. He's Soren the original Forgotten Coin. So he can get Judd here or his Wolves. Which one will he decide?
Get my card first.
He will opt for the Wolves
You wouldn't get
because
your card first, but yeah.
that'll put 10 damage on the board with 2 of them, and I'll get the third one to his hand. That's a
Yeah.
that's a free draw for next turn. Ish acting like he has something to think about, but he has no defense in his hand. Only mains 1 sleeping potion. Only has 1 sleeping potion. There was a lot of inquiries about sleeping potions before the tournament. It was probably the most sought after card. Everyone was looking to buy them, trade them, sell them.
I thought I was going to win this, but
But
kind of recovered pretty quickly. It's unfortunate.
nobody wanted to give up their sleeping potions because it's just too strong. They don't want the players without them to get them and
Hit you for 10 directly.
stop their chances of winning this tournament. So nobody sold any sleeping potions, and a bunch of these newer guys with tons of card game experience, but
Card is.
only have 1 sleeping potion in their deck.
Oh, that's pretty good, actually.
Brandon does a lot of damage here.
So this guy's at 7?
Big setup. I believe he does have a sleeping in his hand. And even
2
though
in hand?
Steven had so many cards earlier,
Target Pavana.
he's down in cards now, it looks like. Big time. This game really swapped tempo.
3 in hand.
Brandon's deck was running really slow in the beginning, but he got the pieces of the puzzle he needed. He uses his sleep on the Dorn. That's going to shut off Cody's hand, and he is going to scoop. Sorry, I called him Cody. This guy has so many names. Cody, Steven, or Ish. And he's going to think about what exactly went wrong there. I had way more cards than him. I was playing the slow game, trying to just win on cards, and this game got out of control.
Alright.
I'm facing a full board, and I only have 4 cards left in my hand. Like, what happened here?
You're first.
Wolf effect. No, it's
Oh.
Wolf effect.
I think he really should have went for that Pavana Jacob play
No body on the
instead
Wolf.
of just changing the Judd. I think that's where things started to slip. Because if he was able to use
see
that Jacob and get a
Where
sleeping,
your deck
he
is
could
a
have
little bit-
stopped the
I just don't
Godfrey
know how you, like,
and maybe turn things around.
we'll play. We'll talk after. Sword effect?
Oh, yes.
Cody's going to start off here with the Wolves. Discards Ancient Coin with Soren effect.
You're gonna regret that, huh?
And he is just popping off with the God hand, it
Yes,
looks
that's
like.
That's God. That's drawing God.
Yeah.
All good.
Wolf plus coin plus prayer beads is godly, as Brandon was saying. Just gets so much free draw power and deck thinning right off the bat.
No response.
And that's going to put him probably at a huge advantage this game, especially considering he is going
funny.
first.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
Brandon is going to copy the move, playing his own Wolf. Wolves, as we saw, are just a staple in Holy. David's deck did not run them, but
We just passionate.
He did lose 0-2 to Brandon last
I know
round.
if I met you guys in person, it would be absolutely no.
Well, you also have to understand that we like picked up the game 2 weeks ago and we came in and like since then like how many changes happened? We're like what the fuck is going on? Like we can't do this. So
Yeah, there was a lot of tension before this tournament. You had this group of new playing pros versus the Discord OG veterans.
so like when we joined,
There was a lot of trash talk.
Yeah, just like we've been playing for 2 years.
And now they're meeting in person.
And you're changing cards and how they work. It's like man.
Steven talking about how we had some ruling issues before the tournament we had to get sorted out. Primarily, when you Godfrey and discard Forgotten Coin, you have to declare the target immediately instead of after resolution.
You paid the 2?
Yes.
Cool.
And the reason for that is because I am changing the ruling
My brain is gonna go
on
straight to
targeting
8,
to be a game
and then 6 for
requirement
sword,
and not part of the
and then
effect.
Furbies, and then 2. Yep,
So
yeah.
cost comes first, then targeting requirement, and then the
Thank God
effect.
this is here. I wouldn't have been able to do it.
I'll pass.
Sure. Drop.
So Brandon goes for the Wombo combo and gets bodied. That'll get him a +1, but Steven
Squirrel? Squirrel?
doesn't mind. He has so many cards from Wolf and Coin.
Jody with a bye.
He'd rather just shut down Brandon's turn here. And now he's going to start applying pressure with his army of weenies.
I'm going to attempt Sword Effect here, so if you want to cut first. No, you're good. You're good.
And Steven will Sorn Effect, draws into Church, discards his last Wolf, which is just a free card at this point, so he just nets another +1. And that's part of the reason Wolves are so good. Not only do you thin your deck by 3, but you get free draws with them
Boring.
if you combine them with Sorin.
Unfortunately,
Well,
He's going to go for the Renee instead of the Church.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You'll
I'm not
take it.
sure what he has in his hand, but I would think Church is the play because that allows him to OTK next turn, potentially,
Oh, I'm not.
if he has the Church on board. And he's just going to pass there with 4 Imperium.
Sword.
Sleeping? Yeah, no, you're good. Sometimes that's the nail in the coffin,
Sometimes
man.
it is, yeah. Forgotten Coin for Wolf.
Broken.
And he's going to Forgotten Coin for Wolf. We see, I just saw his hand. He has 2 Cosmic Energies in his hand. Kind of the same situation against David last round. Those double Cosmic Energy just sit in your hand. Goes for the Wolf, attempts to search.
No response. You're good.
However, he is facing a full board of monsters and doesn't have much Imperium left. Will he go for a Godfrey play to try and switch the tempo of this game?
Thank God they got snacks here, man. I'm dying.
Although Brandon may be doing okay in card advantage,
Man, you think I'm thinking
he is
about,
way behind in tempo.
Yes, you're
thinking about you two next, man. That's what I'm thinking about.
Justin already finishing his match, only about 10 minutes into the round. Justin currently 3-0,
Yep.
and he will be playing the winner of this match. So Brandon dropping down to 4, a lot of card in his hand, but
I will.
not a lot of wiggle room here.
I will Divine Church back to my hand.
That's good.
So Steven plays Church, Brandon Lightning Blast. Wow.
I'm gonna fucking throw
Steven divines back to his hand for free, and Brandon lets it go, so he'll play it again, and then Brandon contradicts it to literally shut off all of Steven's turn and get rid of the Church. That was a pretty huge play, and Brandon still has 6 cards in his hand
everything
because
into a wolf.
all he's been doing is playing Wolves and Forgotten Coining for Wolf. And Steven's been playing cards, but he probably has about 5 or 6 cards in his hand himself. I think he has 5? 4? Yeah, it looks like 4.
Sure.
There comes that Babel. Now Brandon pumping up his Sorin to 3 and can start wiping out Cody's soldiers with just his Sorin. Tower of Babel putting in a lot of work for Brandon this tournament.
30, 40 moves each turn.
But he's down to 5 Imperium. He doesn't want to let Steven pressure him too much. So he's just going to pass. He wants to keep the defense in his hand online, make sure that Steven doesn't get out of control. Some crazy plays or something. He can take some damage here. It won't really hurt him too bad.
Minus
I got broken tooth, so like she was stuck in it. I need toothpicks so bad, man.
He opts
I will.
to just take some damage. He can survive that because now he gets another turn with full Imperium and the tower on board. Now his wolves with the tower would be pretty powerful.
16. More than enough time.
Goes for Jacob.
I'll attempt to team attack and do a. Not supposed to team attack and do a Renee.
Yeah, I'll attempt to Renee effect.
That's good. You might just tilt him.
Yeah, sure.
Team attacks Renee first before activating Jacob because he knows it will most likely get stopped.
Probably will be prayer beads. I'll
We
attempt
have-
to body that.
2 defense online for Steven. There goes one of them. Body obstructs to Jacob, leaving Brandon with just 4. Oh, he's going for the big Godfrey play. And,
Ew. Why the fuck
ooh,
does
so because of the tower, Godfrey's at 6 and can kill the Renee. That's huge for him.
he target on Forgotten Coin?
Wow. Crazy play from Brandon here. Got rid of the Renee, and he's going to force 2 defense and get his Jacob
Oh,
back.
sorry, 1 mana. How many
Essentially netting a +2 off this play.
You target Jacob with Forgotten
Yeah.
Coin? I'll attempt to Exodus the Godfrey.
It wasn't a big burden.
So Steven losing Body Obstruct, Exodus, and Renee. And Brandon just losing Jacob, just losing Godfrey. And not really, it's still on board too. Insane play from Brandon. Netting a +2 against another player with a similar deck is very difficult to do.
Being part of the beginning was cool.
Nobody asked you, right?
Fuck you.
Get the hell out of here.
However, he is at 1, and
Like the beginning, though, like
I know
upping his
Jacob,
cards
that's
is
it.
so much
Steven can potentially start taking control here with him only at 1.
Chaotic was as a
Maybe
goal.
not. If you look at his hand, he has doubled. He has Church and double Cosmic. That's not really helping him out too much.
that works here was saying that he's the one that told Jake to put team attack into the game.
Yeah, I think it was George. I think George did.
This game would have sucked without
Goes for the Church that will buff his cats.
100%. Team attack like completely changed the game.
Thinking. I didn't expect that to clear.
Basically, if you have a monster that's 5 and there's a monster on this side, you would never be able to get over it without team tech,
Oh, so like you get like, you know, a couple 1,500 guys to take on like a 30. Cool.
For example, it's already engraved. If I activate it, I do not pay the price.
He has enough to get over the Godfrey.
Sorry.
Is he deciding if he wants to crash his cat?
6? Oh shit, wait. Changes everything. Everything and nothing at the same time.
I mean,
I'll Cosmic it.
not just team attack over? It's Exodus. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to waste yet another card out of your hand. You already wasted like 3 last turn to stop the Godfrey play, and you Exodus the Godfrey. So by Cosmicing, you're using another card essentially for last turn.
Back to my hand.
Divine.
Wow.
Yes.
Goes for divining his own Godfrey because now he has Jacob Godfrey online in his hand.
That's good.
Oof. That is huge for Brandon. Steven is now down to 1 Imperium.
everything to you. I think you're at 1. So this is 6, 9, 10, 11. And you're at 3. So you're at 1.
11 with you.
Oh, I see why. He wasn't trying to.
Correct. A pass.
He was trying to go for a game. Okay, I apologize. I was wrong about that. I didn't realize how low Brandon was.
Oh, I'm brain rot. I'm brain dead. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I literally won this game. That's crazy.
Steven realizing he had game.
Yep.
Team attack.
Renee.
Yes.
He could have divined the tower and he would have had enough damage for game.
What is that? 7?
Correct.
Wait.
No. Yeah. 5, 7. Well, 8.
Renee effect.
Yeah.
No, it's
No, it's
3. Oh, it's 8. You're right.
Yeah.
Renee effect.
Okay.
Attacks into Renee, burns one of her effects.
Stupid, dude. I misplayed.
I'll attempt to activate for Forgotten Coin.
Goes for Jacob into Forgotten. And Steven's going to let that go because he knows Brandon
I deserve
has
this loss.
the Godfrey in his hand for the bigger play.
If I can't chip 1, I deserve this
And Brandon doesn't know that Steven has a divine, so he's probably going to go for the Godfrey play, discarding the Forgotten Coin.
Godfrey.
Yep.
Yeah, looks like it.
Godfrey activating effects for Forgotten.
Ooh, forgets to attack
loss. Should've divined
first.
this. That was game.
Okay.
Should have attacked the Renee first.
Forgotten
And
Coin will
Yep.
get.
now he let the Renee live
Just
because
the 1 damage I needed.
if
So cringe.
Steven would divine the
I was so
attack,
hyper-focused on drawing
then
a
Brandon can respond with Godfrey effect and get it off and replenish to full, get his wolf back, and win the game. Should have attacked first there.
I'll go to 11. This guy is what?
He's
Although I don't think it matters because Steven has another cosmic energy in his hand. All he has to do is just cosmic and swing for game, I think.
Never mind. I don't think there's anything now. Get the wolf. Play the wolf. Go to 8. Oh wait, yeah, 8. Yeah. This guy's at 5.
yes.
You have 1 man open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll attack these into this guy.
So he's going for an attack to get over Jacob. And then swing for game.
I'll super name.
Brandon goes for the sleep.
That's your tapped out. I'll divine Renee back. Just replay her, same thing.
And Steven wins with another divine. So I really think if Brandon would have used Godfrey to attack Renee there, I think he could have won the game. But Steven did actually have game the turn before. If he would have divined the tower, he would have had enough damage to swing into Brandon Soren for game. They both kind of misplayed there a little bit at the end. The tensions are hot. It's difficult at this level of competitiveness. This is pretty much the highest level of Demon Rush. And when you're in this situation, it's a lot easier to look at the footage and be like, oh, why didn't you do that? But when you're in the actual situation at the table with the lights and cameras on, people are watching, the pressure is super high, it's very easy to make some mistakes, it's very easy to go on tilt, and these two players are going to start side decking and get ready. Game 3.
But the divine did the
That
same
was an
thing.
incredibly intense game 2.
No.
I think they both could have played their hands very differently. And honestly, I think it could have been anyone's game, but they're trying their best. The thing is, we can see their hands a lot of the time from this footage, but they cannot see their opponent's hand, and they're playing their cards based on what they think their opponent has.
See, it's not that one-sided, man. To be fair, though, I did have a god hand, so.
Steven saying how his opening hand was broken. Yeah, he had Ancient Coin, Spirit Wolf, and Prayer Beads.
Literally accurate.
And
No, I just opened god.
it's just
It was like
too
Ancient
much
Coin,
free
Prayer
drawing
Beads, Jacob,
advantage.
right?
Yeah, and he had Jacob, and I think he had Forgotten Coin and
dog.
defense.
Oh, yeah.
He had pretty much everything.
fuck, man, I don't want to play this card.
And especially going first with that God Hand makes it twice as strong. Simply because you just get to go off and get all your draws, lock in your defense, pass turn, shut down your opponent, and then steamroll them.
It's all good. Don't start shutting down on me.
I'm chilling.
We're all happy. It's all happy here.
I'm chilling.
Perfect. Don't.
And both these players are undefeated, so they can both endure a loss and still comfortably get into top 8 if they win their next round.
On video, but then I got lazy with it, so I just
Looked like Steven sided in 2 cards. I don't think Brandon sided. I don't think Brandon is really siding this
All
tournament.
right, brother. There you are. I wish
He
you
just
best
wants
of
to
luck.
run his main
But
deck.
more luck than me.
We know from Discord he doesn't really like siding. He doesn't really have the room in his deck to take anything out. It's also pre-calculated. And Brandon will opt to go first. Saw prayer beads in his hand.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
And he said he has to keep. He already mulliganed game 1.
Soren.
Yep. Ancient coin? It's the only reason why you would ever start with it. Yeah, you're good.
Soren's the ancient coin, and he has a prayer beads too, so I think in church, I believe he's going to church into prayer beads, and that's a pretty godly hand himself.
Alex Pereira, let me talk about the fight.
Church.
So it's like you want to hear because I want to.
Does play the church.
I'm into. I'd love to hear.
I'll attempt to contraband that.
So I'm pretty much
respond
giving
with
that
3 prayer beads.
battle.
So
Who won the fight?
Brandon plays church. Steven contradicts it, which I think was pretty smart. You definitely don't want Brandon having church on board. And Brandon responds with prayer beads, which is still free because costs are paid first. And
I'd like to respond to your prayer.
the church is on the battlefields when prayer beads is played. And he prayer beads again, now with 7 Imperium. And Steven gets his own church. Yeah, I didn't think he would either. That's really good for Steven, who has a wolf in his hand. He can start netting some advantage. I would have laughed if he drew another wolf, because I would always wolf first to thin out the deck before drawing with prayer beads and Soren.
Play wolf. Wolf effect. What?
And Brandon bodies a wolf. That's very surprising. I'm curious as to why exactly he did that.
Surprise me with that.
It was the right play, because if you look at Steven's hand, he has like 2 Jacobs and a Renee. That's not
How do
great.
you have so many cards in hand?
No defense. And somehow Brandon just knew to body the wolf. It was the only thing he was scared of. I mean, this Jacob's probably going to go off, but maybe Brandon has double defense and
4, 6.
figured he can afford to use the body just to keep Steven low on cards.
25.
Question is, will he stop this Jacob with Exodus or sleeping? Or another body.
Jacob effect, target beads.
He uses the sleeping. He had the double defense online. And Steven's not going to play as Renee. He's just going to pass with 2 cards and 2 Imperium. He's going to try and act like those are defense in his hand to protect Jacob, which they're not. And these wolves are going to start to net Brandon pluses, and with that tower buffing all of his wolves, it is extremely dangerous. One wolf can just run over Jacob. And next turn he'll be able to get a free +1 draw off his wolves. So that is pretty huge for him. He's in a dominating position right now in terms of board presence and card advantage.
Team attack and Jacob.
Yep.
Goes for the team attack. Oh, he did have to because Jacob's at 4, I see. Steven draws a body. He would have definitely liked that last turn. But he has Renee Jacob, and he can play both. Ooh.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck are you contradicting?
Brandon quickly contradicts the church. When Renee is rallied, the church will activate to give her +1 strength, and Brandon instantly, no thinking, just contradicts it.
That's fine.
Brandon, the Holy King, knows what happens to the Holy deck when you have out church. It becomes Super Saiyan. Your deck just goes turbo crazy, and everything is easy to play, and the deck just goes insane. So Brandon wanted to get that off the battlefield at all costs.
You'll take one.
Usually you want to lightning blast those churches, but not having church on the board will seriously slow
I'll Jacob effect.
Steven down.
Target,
Ooh, and he gets his own contradict now. He has contradict body and hand. Both are live with Renee Jacob. That's a very strong position for Steven.
fucking hell.
He can body and contra. He can use both right here and take out all of Brandon's board.
Get a 5.
I would definitely body the +1 Imperium here just to try and keep Jacob alive.
Thinking on this one.
And then you could body the wolf and potentially keep Jacob alive.
Body Judd
There you go.
on the Imperium up.
Well, they got to.
You can contradict the tower here.
Yeah, you're good.
Chooses not to.
That time of year, raining and it's still cold, you know.
He just really wants to have contradict, so the next time they have a big trade. Oh, okay, he is using it.
Is that a where are you from again? Is that a popular name?
So you made the big bad his wife, right?
Is Olga a popular name in Russia, bro? I never met an Olga until I met her, and now I know like 800 Olgas.
How funny is that though? The big bad of the series is his wife.
Okay, 2 res.
So Brandon's going to drop down to 1 here, get his wolf.
Seems like everything.
Does have enough to kill Jacob, but down to 1 and no structures.
Super cool.
Both these players are running low on cards, and that was not the best draw for Steven. He's looking for a forgotten coin. Oh, and he nails an ancient coin into sleeping. Now he's got double defense again online.
Jacob Harry right there.
But Brandon can just hold off with his wolves against 1 Renee for literally forever. However, that double defense will shut down any big play. Like that Jacob is doing nothing this turn. I can almost guarantee you that.
Max, you good?
Yes.
You're good. You can keep playing.
It seems like everything into Renee.
This is a tough decision because if Steven uses his Renee effect and Brandon's sleeping potions the Renee,
Nah.
Steven will not be able to stop the attack. Same with body obstruct. Will not be able to stop the attack, and he's thinking, am I forced to use sleeping potion
I will
here?
attempt to sleep the Jacob.
He is going to use the sleeping. He's worried that Brandon has a sleeping or a body in his hand, and he was going to kill that Renee, and then Steven would be helpless without it. However, if you want the real advantage, you definitely have to just activate the Renee and keep your sleeping, because Brandon could definitely just be baiting that, and it looks like it worked.
Okay, what's your target?
Fur beads.
No response.
He lets him prayer beads instead of bodying the Jacob. That's interesting.
Play fur beads.
Yep.
Was that the right play? Brandon on a 5 Imperium. He has a Judd. He's going to go to 0 and play Judd. And that will get bodied. Okay, so it looks like that was pretty smart because he did force Brandon to go to 0.
Thinking on discard. So 0-1.
The reason why is Fire Kings, like, you just add
So they are in time now. And Steven discards his Exodus to equip Flaming Sword.
Yeah, it's strength +2, and then you'll take 1 damage.
He sided these in case they go into time.
Team attack everything, you'll take 1.
He inflicts 1 point of damage for killing Brandon's soldiers, and that means that he may be able to win this game with damage and time.
Wow. Sure.
This is Brandon's second turn in time. Both players get 3 turns.
0, 1, 2.
And Steven has no hands.
Yep.
So Brandon is just going to go for draw power here.
Oh, we're just recording.
But he's down to 2 Imperium, and he has that Renee to deal with.
Good send. Storm effect.
Draws a body.
Sleeping this bad boy. He's thinking.
Flaming sword?
He's thinking. Yeah.
He sleeps Sorin. That was pretty free
Back over the Jacob.
for Ish. I mean, he didn't even have a card he wanted to discard, but Brandon can't afford him drawing a coin. And this is Brandon's last turn. I believe he is ahead on health right now. Or he's going to be.
Sure.
Another Jacob.
I'll buy.
I'm not.
And Jacob gets bodied, and here comes the Godfrey. Nothing left to worry about. No hand left. Oh, and he ditches the Forgotten Coin. That's huge for Brandon. Now he gets Jacob, and he can play Jacob and get another spell card. Now he has to think because this is his last turn. He has to get enough damage
Yeah, and
on the
hindsight,
Ish's life points.
Jacob, I should have let him target first.
So
You still have a turn left, right?
I still have a turn.
they win in time because Ish has 1 more turn after Brandon. And Brandon, I believe, is behind on health right now. He has to get rid of Renee and do enough damage and protect himself next turn. So Jacob can get something like maybe an Exodus or Divine. Maybe Divine Renee and just swing for damage and try to stall.
Having Sorin.
Very tough decision. He could go for Jacob to another Ancient Coin, but that's going to put him desperately low on Imperium. He does it. He's going for draw power here. He's going to be down to 3. This is his last turn. Like, he has to use his hand this turn. Discards an Ancient Coin, tries to draw again. This man does crazy calculations in his head. He knows exactly what the chances are of him drawing a certain card in his deck are. And it looks like he drew...
Target?
He does divine the Renee, and he's going to go for damage here.
I'll go to 22.
That puts Steven at 22.
Go for turn.
Brandon, I believe, is at 29. He's only taking 1 point of damage from Flaming Sword.
Attack everything into Jacob.
I will lightning blast sword.
I think that's what Brandon drew off that Ancient Coin. Wasn't what he wanted. But he doesn't want to take that damage from Flaming Sword, just in case. So he's going to Lightning Blast it. But that will put him, I believe, at 1 Imperium.
It's sick. It's actually disgusting.
These players are squirming in their seat here. In the final turn of time, somehow, Steven has to figure out, how do I put enough damage onto Brandon's health so that after this turn is done, I have higher health and I win the match.
Yes.
He sets down his hand. He really thinks both these players, they're in time, so there's no time limit on their thinking. These last few plays are the most critical here. The intensity is so high. The pressure is so high.
Do I actually lose by 1 like that? That's crazy. Hold on, let me think. Sorry, I'm gonna need as much time as I possibly can. In response to this Lightning Blast, obviously.
Brandon either has one defense and he's not worried, or he is sweating bullets right now, but just hiding it very well.
Ancient coin. So you're at 0 mana?
Correct.
Okay. So that's fine. That's fine.
He's going to let the Flaming Sword go.
I'll Sorin effect.
Now he's going to YOLO Sorin into Church. That's not what he needed. He's probably going to ditch the Church.
Yeah. Damn. Wow. Wow. Yeah. No. But that's these attacks. So yeah, good game. Son.
Good game.
If my top,
Did you have?
yeah. What does it matter?
When did he lightning blast? Attack or damage?
Attack.
You could have divined the sword and then played it again and damaged to tie.
So there was some discrepancies here.
Declare attack.
Yeah.
He should have lightning blasted.
I'll explain in a second.
Wait, but wait. Hold on. Wait,
As I'm explaining to them.
confused. if this is attached and I divine it, which I had,
You declare attack.
it goes back to my hand. Oh, and then rechain it. Holy
You
shit!
can't rechain it, but it's a new phase.
Right, it's a new phase, and
that
I
you
just
can play
chain
it.
it.
So I'm explaining
You can't do that.
how
He didn't say, and if you don't say,
Steven declared an attack with his Renee and his Sorin with Flaming Sword,
to be careful.
and he had Divine in his hand. And
It ended,
Brandon-
it ended the way it should have ended, like technically, but Brandon definitely should have signified.
so there was a discrepancy here. It turned out these guys did their math wrong, and they were tied. So we ran through the numbers, and they did tie in time, and
If my top deck
that's
was
it. They're
effective,
both going to be 2-0-1 with their records moving forward. And in the next round, we will get Ish, Stephen Gray playing against Justin.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
1 damage, huh? Wait, no, you didn't. No,
Attack for
you
8.
didn't. Yeah, I know, but you attacked for 8, but I had sword, so it was only 5
Minus
damage.
2.
It's 5.
No, it's 7.
If you attack with 8,
8.
minus
that would've been
3,
6.
minus 3,
No, a sword's only +1. Right?
it's plus 2.
So it is a tie game.
Yeah, it's a tie game.
Hey, Jake.
They fucked up.